You know what it reminds me of? What they did to what's his face in The Joint. That one.
What they did to that guy in That Thing.
The guy with the face, that guy. The movie that you Midsummer.
Hey peeps, this is the Scary Movie Project, the podcast where we talk about scary movies, share our perspectives as filmmakers, and spit our spoilery spoilers right in your face. I'm Tara.
And I am Matt. Don't bury me, I'm not dead, says Bill Pullman in 1988's. Well, I should first tell you about an anthropologist goes to Haiti after hearing rumors about a drug used by black magic practitioners to turn people into zombies. Bill Pullman, I know, right? In 1988, Wes Craven film The Serpent and the Rainbow.
And there is a lot of spitting stuff in people's faces in this movie. Or blowing stuff in people's faces. There's a lot of things going in people's faces.
Discharge? No, that's not the right word.
No, it's not all discharge, but like they drink stuff and then spit it in someone's face during some of the rituals, and then there's like the blowing the powder in people's faces, and then there's the tarantula on the face. I mean, there's a lot of things on faces.
Yes, there are. So I just would like to say that I'm a big Voodoo fan, right? I admit I don't know a whole lot about it. I've tried to read what I can about it. I'm more of I'm interested in it, I suppose I should say.
Yeah.
So this was really cool to see this. So I think we teased it before. Harvard anthropologist named Wade Davis. He wrote this book, The Serpent and the Rainbow, in the mid '80s. He went to Haiti.
Which is apparently really interesting, but not that well written from what I hear. I haven't read it yet.
I read it. I liked it. It's very. It's not like a Stephen King author book. It's written by a guy who's a scientist. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. It's drier.
It'd be like if you and I wrote a book about a Canon C100. We would be like, yes. And then you turn the frame rate to get 2997 followed by 24 frames. But you know what I mean? We wouldn't talk about, it wouldn't be very, plot driven. It would be like about the subject.
Yeah.
I liked it because it was cool to find out how zombie toxin and poison is made. Like how a potion is made. It was amazing. They actually make this thing. It's real. Or they say it's real. I know,
it's so weird. So interesting.
Right? So that was cool to read about.
Strange to think that you can do that to people.
Well, they say you can. So anyway, there's a name that sticks with me. There's a name, Clairvius Narcisse, okay? This was a guy who lived in Haiti, and apparently he was zombified. He thought he was dead. He was given the poison. Then he was seen like years later walking around a plantation somewhere, like buried, like in the ground, like funeral. What this stuff does is it's a poison tetrodotoxin. It's got puffer fish in it. It's got stuff from toads. Like, it sounds like like from a story it's made up, but that's how this stuff is made. And they dose you with this stuff, and it like basically puts you down. Your heart almost stops beating,
and it causes memory loss too,
paralysis. You know what it reminds me of? What they did to what's his face in The Joint. That one.
What they did to that guy in That Thing.
The guy with the face, that guy. The movie that you Midsummer.
Oh, Midsummer. Yeah. Okay, I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Where they freeze him and like what's going on, but you're like paralyzed. You're done.
Yeah.
So
this guy also, though, they did that all to him, and they made him work as a slave on a sugar plantation for like 16 years.
That's right. Clairvius Narcisse. It is a famous story. It is the most famous Haitian voodoo zombie story of all time.
But so do you know how they weaned him off the drug?
That I don't know.
So this is pretty interesting. No. So 16 years after he got kidnapped, basically, he escaped because his captors had all died. And
that's right.
He had been weaned off the drug by eating salty foods that contain bromide, and that counteracted the poison.
Wow. How about that?
Isn't that interesting?
That really is pretty interesting. Okay, wow. Cool.
So
how they figured that out, I don't know. But
now that we've talked about that, though, we should go back and say who directed this.
I believe I mentioned it quickly, but please tell everybody.
Wes Craven.
Yes.
And I totally forgot when I sat down to watch this for like probably the 5th time that it was directed by Wes Craven. And I said to my husband, we were watching, I said, I said, this might be my favorite Wes Craven movie.
Really?
Like, he's got some good movies, but I don't know. I kind of have a special place in my heart for The Serpent and the Rainbow.
Do you have a feel that we're watching a bit of a documentary with this also? Do you get that from this movie?
I feel like it's...
documentary footage?
I mean, a little bit. Like biopic kind of thing, or...
I have that feeling from it a little bit because... So, as we'll get to...
he put in all the political strife.
So I was going to talk about, there's a couple things happening. So they shot some of it in Haiti. So I think that added to the realness maybe that I felt like I was, there wasn't fancy lighting in a lot of it. It's just kind of, we're on the street. We got the camera, we're going,
Do you know why it wasn't shot all in Haiti?
Well, I mean, Haiti's never has been a great place in the recent history to go do much of anything if you don't live there.
The local government actually told the crew they couldn't guarantee their safety for the rest of the shoot. So they relocated and went to film the rest in the Dominican Republic.
Haiti is like a beautiful place, and it gets a horrible reputation based on the fact that, I mean, they have a bad government setup. They've had insurgencies. They've had so many problems there. They get slammed by earthquakes. They get destroyed by natural disasters. Their infrastructure is nothing. I mean, there's nothing. It's a very poor place. It's very sad, quite frankly, because it's great people, beautiful place. Like I said, I would actually like to visit it because I'd like to see more about voodoo stuff. I don't want to sound like some stupid tourist, but I'd like to go visit the place and see it. So, I think it's very cool that they were able to shoot there. And this was during, I'm trying to remember the name of Duval. Was it the name of the guy that was in charge at the time? The family? I don't know if I'm getting that name right. But probably not. But anyway.
Oh, shoot.
That's who was in charge at the time. And there was, strife it was not good at the time. Like I said, I mean, that island has had a tough time. I definitely feel bad for them. But voodoo stuff, really cool. I love to read about it. I like this movie as well. Yeah. There's political stuff going on, right? That's definitely part of it in there.
They're commenting a bit on the political strife and the uprising of
corruption,
the people against the corrupt government.
Yeah,
right. There's the corrupt government
guy, that dude is mean. I don't like him at all.
Well, there's the corrupt government. What's his name?
I forget now.
Petrode.
I know. Okay. I like the Mozart guy.
Petrode is part of I love Mozart.
Yeah.
Petrode is part of the bad government, right? He's part of the secret police or the police that work for the government. Mm-hmm. The bad guy is. And they, at the very end of the movie, the whole country rises up against the dictatorship. So it's, and it happens all with at the same time as the crux of the story of the plot, where Dr. Allen is fighting Petrode. So it's happening all during that. Yep. Yeah, it's an interesting way to set it up with both of those sort of counterbalancing each other.
I agree. Yeah. I think a little bit cheesy near the end with the whole kind of magic stuff. I don't know how I felt really about that very ending, but it worked. It's okay. It's good. It's definitely
with the spirits coming out of the jugs.
I mean, I get it. It's cool. I get it. You own their souls. I know, but I don't know.
So I think it was interesting though that they took it in this movie as this is just real. They didn't play around. They didn't make it we'll never know if it's real or not. They were no, this is real. This is real and this is scary and this can happen.
Yeah.
But I thought that Wes Craven, although that's a name you always want to say both names, don't you? You never want to say Wes or just Craven. You always want to say Wes Craven. Sorry, that's side note. I just always want to say his full name for some reason.
Any director, I think I always refer to by their first and last name. I feel like
I always want to say his full name.
Yeah.
But so I feel like Wes Craven, although what was this 1987 or something?
Yeah, 88.
Yeah. So it was earlier when we weren't maybe as PC about things, but I feel like he tried to handle, there's a little bit of like, there's this white man and he's in this strange world and it's so
white
different. And then the white man is the savior at the end, right? He wins. He is the one who saves everybody. Yeah. But I think in spite of that being sort of the thing at the time, he tried to handle it respectfully. And I like that about this movie. I think that that they really were trying to be respectful of this culture and not just be like, woo, scary, look at the weird people, that they were trying to be, that they were trying to get into it and really show some of the realities, like by putting in the political strife, by putting in things like that.
Yeah, you're not in a it's not a fantasy world. You're in, actual, or this is really happening.
Yeah.
What is cool, I mean, what they did was they took all the, somebody finally took all the stories and the things that happened to people, these zombie stories that happened over there, and told them in the movie. Like, they took them and they made it real.
Yep.
Like, like Clairvius Narcisse and these other people, like these stories really happened. They're not just, old wives' tales or something, and they put them in a movie.
I wonder how many of the specific things they talk about really have happened to people. Like, okay, like the opening where I think it's Christophe on the table that they think is dead, and they pierce his eye, like right under his eye with a pin. To watch. Okay, by the way, that was Bill Pullman's. That was Bill Pullman's at the time newlywed wife.
Is that right?
Yeah, she was invited to be an extra, and she's the woman who pushes the needle through his cheek.
Yeah, that's a good way to. That's a pretty good way to tell if you're alive or if you're conscious or not. Yeah, I'll give you that.
But it's not, because he was alive.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he's like paralyzed. He can't really do anything. Yeah, that shows like how much that stuff. I mean, that's crazy, right?
But like, I wonder if that kind of stuff really happened. Like, I know there used to be the thing about like a pin through the bridge of your nose to make sure you were dead. Like,
dude, I
don't remember when that was. That was way, way, way back. They used to like put something through the bridge of your nose to make sure you were actually dead.
No thanks.
Like,
no, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely. Yeah, that was pretty creepy. The scene I like a lot is, and I think it's usually the image you see when they talk about the movie, is there's that great shot where they're about to behead the guy, or the woman, I can't remember, and it's that they're in the foreground, and behind them is that great shot of the dude pulling up his sword.
Yeah,
and he's got that sword, and it's like all cut out and everything, and it's about to slice his head off, and that's just such like a creepy scene. That's like the scene or like the poster or the shot like you always see associated with this movie.
Funny, I feel like the one that sticks with me is the shots of Dr. Allen in the
when he's
in the coffin when he's buried.
That one too. That's what they. I think that's what's on the cover.
Oh my god, when they throw the tarantula in with him and then shut him up in there with the spider.
How about that? Well, how about the scene? So. The scene I thought was interesting is this was real, I guess. In the coffin, and it starts filling with like the blood and the goo and whatever. Yeah, it's like oozing into his ears. Like, you got to sit there and like let that happen. That's pretty nasty, right?
No,
Like, that's not a special effect. That's just him in a coffin filling it with crap, right?
I mean, I would assume so. Yeah, it's not. Man. It doesn't look pleasant at all.
No, it doesn't. And I like the scene too where they go to that like spring, and all those people are in that. It's like the cave and the wall. That was pretty neat. I like that a lot.
That was cool. Yeah, that was a really cool part. I didn't understand. Well, I mean, I do understand because it's like the late 80s, 90s. Like, I feel like today you wouldn't have necessarily had them have sex.
Okay.
It's kind of just like out of nowhere. It's like, we went to the party, like, I respect you. Yeah. We went to the party and now we're having sex.
Do you mind if we have
and
intercourse?
And then we're like in love with each other or something.
Yes.
It's like,
yes,
it's kind of out of nowhere, but I feel like that was the thing in like the
We only
late
have an
80s
hour
and
and a
early
half.
90s. But it was like you pretty much had to have the main characters have sex in the 80s and 90s. Like,
you got to do it, man.
It was just part of the formula.
Yep.
Whether it actually really makes sense or not, because
whether or not it makes sense,
he could just really respect Dr. Duchamp. Like, he could just really respect her as a colleague, and think she's great, and still go back to save her. They didn't have to be porking for him to go back and save her.
Sex sells, man. You got to put it in the movie.
Like, it does. It totally does. It's so 90s. I know it's 87, but it's so 90s.
How about when he wakes up and the severed in the body and they bust in, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's so bad.
That was, yeah. But yeah, that dude is the bad guy. He's mean, man. I don't like him.
Yeah, Petrode. He's
I don't like that guy. But we do like Mozart, the guy that makes the powder, right?
So Mozart, the guy that makes the powder, is like, he's such a trickster. Like,
yes, he is.
I love, he's very lighthearted about everything and
about something that's pretty serious. Like when they go back and show them like cooking it up and they're wearing like the masks and like,
and he's obviously serious about his craft.
Yeah, man.
But like when he tries to convince them that something else, like rat poison or something, is the drug and it's not, and then he like, at the end when he comes back and he gives him the stuff and he's like, I don't have any money on me, and Mozart is like, you're gonna make everybody know my name though, and that's
he just jumps on the plane. He just jumps on the plane. Is like, here you go, take this.
Oh, he's so great. He's so great. I'm sad that they cut his head off at the end.
Yeah, he did get his head. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, I really liked him.
Yeah,
I really liked him.
Character-wise, like, I don't know. I mean, Bill Pullman's your main guy. He's pretty, I like the bad guy. Yeah, they're not characters you love necessarily.
I like Lucien too.
Yeah,
the guy who becomes their friend. Who oh my God, her name just went in my head. Who Dr. Duchamp introduces him to help him. I like Lucien. He's a good guy.
I could, and the scenes with the pharmaceutical company, I can kind of do without. They're kind of like stale and stupid, though, right?
Well, but I feel like they're the whole point for him going, and it's part of his journey, right? Because he's going down there to make money.
Yeah.
Right? He's going down there for
what's
a
everything
lot
about?
Of money.
Everything's about money, right?
But he ends up caring about these people.
Yeah.
And going back, not for money, but to help try to save these people. So
even
I think
after
it's
he gets
part
a
of
nail
his
in his scrotum.
that yeah, that part's not good. But
it's not.
But I do think that's part of his character growth and his journey.
Yeah.
You need those scenes to show that at first he really is just in it for the money and he's kind of a dick.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's he's a dumbass white guy who's highly educated and doesn't know any better and nosing around where he doesn't belong. Of course, right? That's like classic stupid white guy.
But he grows into someone who cares about these things and these people and wants to help.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, for sure.
So you have to have that. I think you have to have those weird businessy scenes. But how about the businessy scenes talking about that? How about when he's back in country and the guy's wife attacks him
and starts eating the glass, right?
Starts eating the glass and then attacks him and then has like a fit on the table.
That was pretty weird.
That I feel like was the moment where I was like, oh, okay, this is real. Like we're not playing the is it or isn't it game. This is real.
Right. I think that's a good point. Some of the stuff you wonder, is it hallucinations or is it like
right, like the jaguar thing? You're like, does he really? From the beginning.
Was that? Was
I love when he plays with the jaguar, but you
knew that was not real, and then it shows that it's not real, and it's like okay,
right,
I kind of figured that was
because that's where is he then? He's in the Amazon, I think, before he goes to Haiti.
Yeah, and
so he takes this drug and he sees his.
Something.
Yeah, he takes this drug and he sees this.
The shaman gives it to him. I'm sorry, I don't care how rude.
He has a spirit animal. That's the word. He sees his spirit animal, and it comes and helps him when he's in Haiti at the end.
Right.
So again, they kind of make it that like, well, that's kind of real too.
Yeah. Oh,
like
yeah.
this is a world where all of this stuff is real.
Exactly. You know what? I'll tell you, you don't want to be rude to your host and you always want to be a good guest and whatever, but I don't know, man. If I'm in the Amazon and some dude gives me something to drink, I'm sorry, I'm not drinking that. I'm just not. It's not going to happen.
I don't know if I would or not.
I'm sorry.
I don't know.
I just can't do that. I don't know what's going to happen.
Speaking of what's real, though, the actual drug that they were reaching, right? That it says at the end, like it's still under extensive study and it's a mystery to science.
Stupid. Right.
It's based on the drug tetrodotoxin,
I think is how you pronounce it.
Tetrodotoxin.
Yeah.
That's
the book is cool because it really.
But that was already well known. That was already well known by that point, and it's used as an anesthetic. So it's not this mysterious drug that nobody's ever heard of.
I didn't know how it was made, but whatever. But that was really cool to read it, though, was to see that, to see how it was made. And, your mind wanders with you. You're like, okay, I'm going to go make zombies now. So now I never did, not to say that I couldn't. I just never did at the time.
Of course you could, dear. Of course you could.
Let's make zombies.
I feel like though, another part that I love that I think shows that we just are accepting this magic is real is early on when Dr. Duchamp, Marielle is her first name, right?
Marielle.
When Marielle is dancing and Erzulie like possesses her.
Oh, right.
And I think that's so interesting to me that the way they played that, just very straight. They did not make fun of these people for believing this. Another thing I was talking about with like Wes Craven taking it seriously. Like
he was really into this. Like he
played it very like, no, this is what these people believe, and this is what happens when they do this. Like this is what happens in the ritual.
This wasn't like a movie that where he was just had nothing to do and someone pitched it to him and said like, "Hey, I want to try." Like he really was into this and he really wanted to make this movie, so he really cared about this stuff.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
It is. What was I was going to say something.
Oh, what about when Dr. Allen gets poisoned?
Yeah.
Right, he's like leaving Lucien's villa and he gets poisoned and he grabs that man and is like, help, and the guy's like, no, and runs away.
Get away, yeah.
So here's a tidbit. That actor was also one of the grave robbers earlier on,
all right,
who runs away from the cemetery when Dr. Allen and Dr. Duchamp, Dr. Duchamp, I guess, find them there when they go looking for Christophe. So it's the same guy, and he shouts, no, that time too. He says same thing both times.
It's quite a role in this movie. Yeah, I remember I was going to mention, I think a lot of those, I don't know if this is true, I think a lot of those scenes where they're at those parties and ritual, I think those are actual real like voodoo ceremonies. Is that right?
Oh, really? I don't know. I didn't see anything about that.
I think they were, man. Like, I think they were like, yeah, you're welcome to come to these. And they went and they put it in the movie. So
I would believe it.
I think that's awesome.
I would believe that we didn't see some of it too, because the movie was apparently originally 3 hours long.
I did not know that. He shot that
Wes
much
Craven.
of it, huh?
This was in an article from Fangoria, and the Wes Craven thought it was too long and too talky, so they cut it down to 98 minutes.
I mean, yeah, people aren't going to watch a 3 hour. I mean, I will watch.
I don't know. I might watch this movie for 3 hours.
So that's the question: do we have a bootleg director's cut out there?
I don't know. I haven't heard of one.
Well, I know what I'll be looking for at Monster Mania in August then when I go look at the DVDs.
Yeah. I'm not sure that it did well enough for a...
Yeah, it may not have had. I don't know. It may not
for a director's cut, It
may not have. But, well, that's what I mean. It's a bootleg one they never really released.
Yeah, so. Yeah. It would have to be bootleg, I guess.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. 3 hours. Holy cow. I can't imagine that. Yeah. But it's just so much cool stuff involved in it, right? So, and I feel like it's cool because I did I did the way I wanted to. I read the book first, then I saw the movie. I always want to do that first.
I need to read the book. I'm really interested in reading the book, so I'm going to do that pretty soon.
I think you like it. So it makes me think about, like, okay, zombies and zombies, okay?
Right.
Zombies, like George Romero zombies that eat your brains and walk around and...
Right.
Or, real deal, like voodoo human zombies, like in this movie. And then other
that are being taken advantage of and harmed, really.
So it's like, what really then are zombies? Okay, right. So I don't know the answer to that necessarily. But like I don't know if you've ever seen White Zombie.
Oh man, I think years and years ago.
Not the greatest band ever, but the movie 1932 movie, White Zombie. Mm-hmm. It's good. It's an old black and white movie. It's set in a plantation. It's the whole deal. That's like your very first, like, zombie kind of this, like you're on an island somewhere and potions and zombies, this kind of thing. That's like the first one. And you don't have a ton of them that are like this. This is more, I don't know, you even want it as like a religious movie. It's like a magic movie. I don't think it's that. It's drama too. I mean, it's definitely scary, right? It definitely is. But yeah, I think it's really cool. Like I said, I find voodoo very interesting. I heard a great quote once in places like Haiti and like New Orleans and things like that. People always, well, where do you go to see? Voodoo is everywhere, but nowhere. And I think that's a perfect quote.
Yeah, that makes, I have to go to New Orleans. I've never been, and I really want to go.
Let's go. I'll go.
I want to go so bad.
Voodoo is not like, the Baptist church down the road where you drive down the street and they have a big sign saying, come worship with us on Sundays at 9 a.m. That's not voodoo. That's not what they do. So that quote of, we're everywhere but nowhere is very true.
Yeah.
It is everywhere. It's in the shadows. You don't know about it because of the reputations it has. Oh, are we going to go sacrifice a goat? Are we going to go cut a chicken's head off? Like, it gets these stupid raps. And I think that I hope this movie tried to explain more of it and talk about more of it and say what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it did, and it kind of give it an idea of what goes on there. And I hope it didn't paint it in a bad light, but everyone's got their own opinion of what stuff is too. So however you take it is however you take it.
This is true.
I don't know.
I want to go back for a minute because you mentioned White Zombie, the band you love.
The greatest band of all time.
I know that you love it when we have musical connections.
We never do that anymore.
I have one for you.
How am I going to know it?
I don't know.
All right.
How about this? See. Okay, let me quiz you then.
All right, let's see.
What song was inspired by this movie? And I have one hint that I can give you.
Okay, so a band wrote a song inspired by watching this movie, you're saying?
Yep, while they were watching the movie together, they wrote the song.
All right, so it happened after 1988, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can I ask for clues, or do I only get this one hint?
I only have one clue to give you, really.
Because I don't, right on top of my head, I don't know the answer.
Here's your hint.
All right.
It's an alternative rock band.
Ooh, alternative rock band, Serpent and the Rainbow inspired them. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can I, and I can't ask any more clues at this point?
You can, but I don't know if I'll have them for you.
Okay, I'll go answer. Okay. All right. Damn. Alternative rock band. What was the year the song was released? Can you tell me that, or do you know that?
I would have to Google that.
Oh man, this could go on forever here.
I didn't intend to quiz you. That's why I don't have hints for you.
No, this is great. I love it. No, I love it. I'm
okay,
just trying to think.
Hold on. Let me.
I don't know if
the band's name starts with G. I'm checking now because I want to give you the hint.
I mean, that could be a lot of things. I don't know if that's helping me. Is it? No, I'm going to make a joke about this.
It was released in 1997.
1997. The song.
The song.
Band that starts with G. 1997.
I feel like you're not going to get this. I feel like I win here.
I want to make a joke and say that it's Guar, but I know it's not Guar.
It's not Guar.
Okay.
It is not Guar, sadly.
Guar, dude. Oh man, I don't want to eat up our entire episode trying to guess this thing. So I don't. If you can give me one more clue, I'll try. But otherwise, we'll have to move on.
Okay, I'm going to give you a really big clue.
All right.
God is in the band's name.
God is in the band's name. I should know the answer to this then, right?
I don't know.
I'm okay. This is too much. This is wasting too much time. And I don't know it. So what is it?
It's Voodoo by Godsmack.
Oh, interesting. Not a Godsmack fan. Know their stuff, but I don't know that song. Okay.
Yeah, it's Voodoo by Godsmack.
Do they actually reference the movie, the title and everything in it, or?
I don't know. I think they just were watching the film together and they wrote this song called Voodoo.
I'll listen to it then. God,
yeah, we'll have to listen to it at some point.
I haven't heard that name in a long time.
I know, right? I was like, Godsmack, dang, that's a throwback.
That's a serious throwback.
That's a big throwback.
Okay. That's a good one. I love that. That is always cool when, a band writes a song that they, that would thought by a movie. That's pretty cool.
Definitely.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that.
I have a good trivia one for that. Not necessarily trivia, but it's part of our story for an upcoming episode we have also.
Oh, okay.
Teaser.
So let me give you a little more trivia.
Please.
Right. So this was Bill Pullman's first horror film.
Okay. I like Bill Pullman.
I like Bill Pullman too.
Of course, who can forget his stellar acting as the United States president in Independence Day, obviously, right?
Of course.
I mean, who doesn't love that?
But he was also in 3 other horror films after that, right, that he was in. Brain Dead in 1990.
Oh, Brain Dead. Is that the Peter Jackson movie? Because that movie's amazing, by the way.
I think so.
If that's what I'm thinking of, oh my goodness, what a movie.
Lake Placid in 1999.
Oh. Have you seen Lake Placid?
Years ago.
Oh,
do we have to do that on the podcast?
Foul-mouthed Betty White and a giant alligator.
Wait, maybe I haven't seen this.
Oh man, it was.
I do not recall Foul-mouthed Betty White.
It's not good. It's not a good movie, but man, is it fun to watch.
All right, we'll have to do that. We'll have to do that on the podcast at some point.
Yeah, he
was also in The Grudge in 2004.
For a minute. He's the guy that kills himself at the beginning of the movie.
Yep. So he was in The Grudge too. And this film was also released.
Good call.
Well, here we go. It was released. It was released in '88. We know now it was '88 because it was released the same year as Nightmare on Elm Street 4: The Dream Master.
Wes Craven was busy.
Which of course was also directed by Wes Craven. And when it first played in theaters in the U.S. In the spring of '98, so this was just before its opening, there was this teaser that was this weird excerpt from the film that never made the theatrical cut, but it's styled like a hallucination, and it has a blue computer rendering of Dennis Allen's, Bill Pullman, screaming face engulfed in liquid, and serpents were swimming through and around the top of his head.
Gross.
Which I really want to see.
I'm sure you could find it.
I'm gonna have to see if I can find that.
YouTube it. If it was released,
I'll have to see if I can find that. But it sounds crazy.
That sounds neat.
It sounds really crazy. So I mean, I think you can tell, since I said it might be my favorite Wes Craven movie. This is a movie that I love.
Yeah.
It sounds like you do too.
Love it? No, but I enjoy it a lot. Yeah, I don't love it.
I really like this movie. I
like the subject matter because it's something that we don't talk about. Did you ever see The Skeleton Key?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's kind of similar. It's like plantation bayou voodoo stuff.
Right.
That's a good movie too. But this is cool because not enough movies touch on this, and they're not as authentic and as real to the point like this it really is.
Yeah, I feel like this really got the feel right for the movie, and you feel it's a little bit of an oddball of a movie, though. It's not like a lot of horror movies.
No, it's not, and that's what I meant by documentary feel. There's a lot. It's not your cut and paste Hollywood movie. It really is not at all.
But I think that's part of why I like it so much.
It's unique.
Yeah, yes, it's different. It's its own thing. I like it.
Yeah.
So next we are doing The Guardian.
I was going to say one more thing.
Oh, say one more thing.
If anyone does know, I mean, this probably goes against everything that voodoo I mentioned in my quote from earlier. But if anybody knows anywhere to go to see voodoo ceremonies, call me. I'm there. I want to go.
All right, guys, you've got your request. If you know, would you participate or would you just want to watch?
I just want to see it. I just want to watch.
Okay.
If they want me to do something, I don't want to cut a chicken's head off or anything, but I mean, I'll go.
Well, I think too that depends on what kind of stuff you're doing. I'm not sure that's always what it is.
No, I know. I'm being a little bit facetious.
Okay, so if you know anywhere that Matt and I would go to, can see or participate in a voodoo ceremony,
let's go to Haiti.
Let us know.
Haiti, man.
I'd rather go to New Orleans, though. I'm really into going to New Orleans.
Let's go to New Orleans.
I really want to go.
Let's start a GoFundMe to fly us to New Orleans.
I really want to go to New Orleans.
Let's do it. Yeah. Well, you got to go at a certain time, though.
I don't want to go during Mardi Gras.
No, and you don't want to go during the summer because it's a billion degrees.
Yeah, I want to go like when it's quieter and go see like the more like historical,
spring.
non-touristy stuff. Like I want to see some touristy stuff, but I want to see a lot of non-touristy stuff too, and like really be able to walk around the city.
You want to
like,
drive outside the city. You want to go see other parishes, and you want to go see places.
Yeah, I just want to go see it. So okay,
GoFundMe, yes.
So next up is The Guardian, which I think you picked, Matt, right?
Okay. So disclaimer to start off. Yes, I did. I'm just going to say this movie is not good. I have seen parts of it when I was a young man. It's directed by William Friedkin, who did The Exorcist.
Yeah.
This movie has been universally panned, but
I'm very excited to watch it.
We need to give it a chance. Right?
I'm very excited to watch the William Friedkin movie that got panned.
Yeah, it is not gonna.
I'm here for it.
It did not end up in any Best Picture lists of the year it came out. But we're gonna give it. We're gonna give it its day in the sun.
All right, we will do that.
Yes.
So, guys, don't forget you can subscribe, follow the podcast, rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever the heck you are.
Everywhere.
And so
like
please
Voodoo,
follow, rate and review so more people can find us. And don't forget, send us your movie suggestions, your thoughts on the movies we've watched so far, your recommendations for where we can go hang out with a voodoo ceremony.
Ooh, a Bokor.
Send that all to us at thescarymovieproject@gmail.com. And you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at The Scary Movie Project. Peace out.
Remember, serenity now, insanity later.
The Scary Movie Project podcast is produced by Tara Garwood and Matt Lulich. Learn more at thescarymovieproject.com.